Welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstop. Thanks so much for streaming along here with us on your Wednesday afternoon. It is a pleasure to have you. We have a lot of news to get to, and I want to make sure you're informed. So let's start off this morning with a murder trial that is underway, or I guess I should say this afternoon, in Coweta County. Our Doug Evans has been covering this trial and this murder case for quite some time, and it involves the disappearance of a Coweta County mother, Tiffany Foster. Doug, I understand that we have a jury. Opening arguments have finished, and you are learning some new things about this case.
Right. Good afternoon, Ariel. Good afternoon, everybody. Listen, I knew that I would learn some things. I've been covering it for 4 years, but I confess that I didn't know everything about this investigation, even though that we've covered it extensively here on Fox 5 and over the years. Talking with investigators, talking with family members, and that sort of thing. Let me get straight to it. In the opening arguments, the prosecutor told the jury that it was not Reginald Robertson who informed police that his fiancee was missing. That's what we were always told. No, it was in fact Tiffany Foster's own teenage daughter, who 24 hours after Tiffany had last been seen, the daughter's worried, and she calls 911 and reports her mother missing, says she didn't come home the night before, which was March 1st, the day she disappeared, and hadn't been seen all day on March 2nd. So a deputy goes over from Coweta County, knocks on the door. There's body cam video. They played it in court today. And the deputy questions Reginald Robertson and writes down all the things that he says about Tiffany Foster. Yeah, she left for errands yesterday. No, I haven't seen her. She was in her car. She left in her car. And we haven't seen her since. That statement, left in her car, may come back to haunt him, because investigators in their closing, not investigators, but prosecutors in their opening statement said and showed video of Reginald Robertson in Tiffany Foster's car on March 1st, when he says that she had taken it and left. And what was he doing in her car? Well, they said they can prove that he was using Tiffany's ATM card to withdraw money and going to a hardware store to buy a shovel and bolt cutters. And he also had with him Jeremy Walker. You can see him in the surveillance photos that they showed the jury. And Jeremy Walker is the co-defendant in this case, and he's charged with helping to conceal Tiffany Foster's death. So none of this evidence so far has linked him directly to her murder and disappearance, but it is some very strange behavior for the jury to consider.
Again, this is really interesting, because when we get to see a case like this start to unfold in a courtroom type setting, you get to see all of the evidence that detectives and investigators didn't show us previously. Those texts that you had in your video, I know we are looking at stills from the courtroom, but so interesting that Tiffany said, if something happens to me, he did it.
Right, and that was a text message, Ariel, that she sent on February 25th, just a few days before she disappeared. She texted a friend of hers in Texas and said, if something happens to me, in all caps, she writes, Reggie did it. Another thing that came out in opening arguments, Ariel, that we didn't know about is that a few months before this, well, we kind of knew about it, but we didn't know the fine details of it. I'll say that, because he had been charged with kidnapping and aggravated assault and rape, all in an incident that they said happened before her disappearance. Well, we learned more about that incident. It happened in November. He's accused of kidnapping her, taking her to an abandoned house in Coweta County, and then threatening her, tying her up, shooting a gun. And there's a 911 call that they played in court today, in which you hear it connect, says Coweta County 911, what's your emergency? And then she starts screaming, Reggie, you're scaring me. Reggie, you're scaring me. She doesn't know that it's connected. She doesn't know that someone's on the other line, apparently. And then she says, Reggie, you have a gun. And then the call disconnects. And so they call back, right? They call back. That's what they do. And Reginald Robertson answers the phone. He's very calm. and they're saying, sir, we had a hang up from this number. Is everything all right? Oh, yeah, everything's fine. I was just messing with my phone and accidentally dialed 911. Well, they say, well, where are you right now? And he says, I'm at home, and he gives their address at an apartment here in Newnan. And the prosecutor said, well, that's interesting because we're going to prove it. We've got evidence to prove that they weren't at home, that they were at this abandoned house on Lower Fayetteville Road, somewhere else in Coweta County, when he answered that call. And then there's just one more thing that I want to tell you about, Ariel.
Sure.
And that is some body cam video. That same night that he's allegedly kidnapped her, tied her up, fired this gun and everything, Newnan police, after this whole thing is resolved or whatever, Newnan police pull over Reginald Robertson's car. He's in it, she's in it. They walk to the door. She's sobbing hysterically. He's calm as he can be, very cooperative, the police officer said. They go over to her and ask her what's wrong, and she says, I can't tell you because if I tell you, he will kill me. And these are all statements that she made in November of 2020, just a few months before she disappeared in March of 2021.
Doug, just heartbreaking because you can tell from this evidence that her intuition was telling her something about her own safety. I have to let you go here soon. I do have so many questions, so I think one of the last ones I'm going to ask you here. I know a jury's been seated. Do you know the makeup of the jury? Were you able to kind of get a feel for them? And what was their reaction to maybe some of these opening remarks and now that testimony's underway?
Yeah. I did look at the jury, Ariel, when they were playing that video of her screaming.
Yeah.
In which she's saying, Reggie, I'm scared. Reggie, you're scaring me. And I saw one of the women purse her lips as if, you know, she was not pleased with what she was hearing. Does that mean anything? It doesn't. It's going to be a long trial, 2 weeks. It's just day one. But clearly there was some reaction to this jury. They seem very attentive. They're taking lots of notes and that sort of thing. But again, we are just in day one of the testimony, and it's going to be a very long trial. And I do want to say one thing, and I know you got to go. Let me just say, on the defense side, let's give them some time.
You're right.
On the defense side, they said, hey, the state did test after test after test after test, and in the end, the state has nothing from any of those tests that ties Reginald Robertson to a crime, any crime.
Interesting.
So,
an argument
we'll
I have heard from a defense many times, as I'm sure you have as well.
Yep.
So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Doug Evans, I'm glad you're getting to cover this, considering you were on the story so many years ago and you're able to put all of the pieces together for us. So thanks for joining us and sharing the conversation. We appreciate it. Okay, guys, we're going to move on because I do want to get out to our Deidre Dukes, who sat down for a one-on-one with U.S. Senate candidate Derek Dooley today. As you know, he is a former Tennessee football coach, and Deidre Dukes joins us live from the state capitol now. Deidre, what did you learn from your conversation with Derek?
Well, he says that he believes it's time for a change in Washington, and he believes that he is the right candidate for the job. He is a veteran college football coach. He is the son of the famed UGA football coach, Vince Dooley. And he says he loves this country. He loves Georgia, and he believes that he is the right person to represent Georgians on Capitol Hill. Now, he did say that he does consider himself a political outsider. He is running as an outsider. He says that he does lack political experience, but he sees that as a positive. Here's what he had to say about that.
I'm not one of these people that think we're at the apocalypse and we're at war with half the country. I don't believe that at all. I go around the state and I get inspired by so many people who are doing such great things for our country, and I think the future is going to be brighter than ever. But we got to start sending some people up there that believe in that. And I'm one of those guys, and I hope everybody will go support me, DooleyForGeorgia.com, and vote for us May 19th.
asking people to vote for him as he campaigns across the state since announcing his run back in August. I did ask him why he thought that he would be considered a serious candidate by those who criticize him for his lack of experience, political experience. Here's what he had to say.
How do you respond to critics who will say your lack of political experience would make it difficult for you to represent Georgians to be effective in Washington?
Well, I would say it's the exact opposite. I'm glad I don't have some of that experience because I think that's why we got here in the first place. I mean, we have so many issues that frustrate our people with what's going on in D.C. And look, we're living in it right now. This shutdown we have right now is D.C. politics at their finest. And so I just don't accept this notion that you have to have political experience to be up there and serve the people, to have some common sense and be focused on solutions. I mean, we have a president right now that had no political experience, and he's getting more things done in our lifetime than any other president has.
Now, Dooley says he is an ardent Trump supporter. At the same time, he says that if elected, when he went to Washington, D.C., that he would put Georgians first in every decision that he made, every vote that he cast during his time in office. He, of course, is not the only candidate vying to unseat Senator Ossoff. Also running in that race, U.S. Representative Buddy Carter and U.S. Representative Mike Collins running in the GOP race as well in the GOP primary area.
Yeah, you know, Deidre, I'm taking a look at this, and it is really incredible just to see how the race is shaping up. You know, you have, it looks like, right, of course, Jon Ossoff, and then Derek Dooley, who's entered this race with a lot of name recognition here in Georgia and, of course, throughout the South. You have Buddy Carter, who's also well known. But it's interesting to see where others in our state, specifically our governor, where those endorsements are flowing. So do you think those really matter in the grand scheme of the race? Is it enough to unseat Jon Ossoff?
And that's a great question because Jon Ossoff, Senator Ossoff, he has done a lot of work here in Georgia, working across the aisle during his time in the U.S. Senate. At the same time, we have seen, Governor Kemp is a very popular governor here in Georgia. So his endorsement of Dooley, it'll be interesting to see how much weight that carries. We're also waiting to see ultimately who the president endorses in this race, as he has not endorsed any candidate as of yet.
Interesting, Deidre. You know, in my mind, I felt like that had already happened. And so you telling me that is a good reminder that that actually isn't a thing yet. So it's something to keep our eyes on to see how that's ultimately going to shape where the money flows and then ultimately who could end up winning. So, Deidre, thank you so much for your reporting. We really appreciate it. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring you back in here to studio because I want to get a check of another big story we've been following here in our newsroom. And this involves, of course, the Atlanta airport suspect, Billy Joe Cagle, who was scheduled to have his first appearance in a Clayton County court this morning. That appearance was canceled as he was taken into federal custody. So he was not in court this morning, but we did just learn that he is set to appear in federal court around 4 o'clock this afternoon, so that is in just about less than 2 hours. So we'll keep you updated as soon as that happens. I know our Tyler Fingert has been covering this story since it began. In the meantime, I do want to let you listen to the judge as he spoke this morning when we were in a Zoom courtroom waiting for Billy Joe Cagle to appear there in the Clayton County courtroom for that first appearance. The judge came in and let us know ultimately what had happened.
Deputies, I just got word that defendant Cagle has been taken into federal custody. Can you guys confirm that he's not there?
Yes, sir. That is correct. They came and got him approximately 30 minutes ago.
Okay. All right. So let me just announce, we have a lot of folks from the media on. I want to welcome you all. We just got word that about 30 minutes ago, the defendant Billy Cagle was taken into federal custody. So we will not be having a first appearance hearing for him today. So I'll ask folks from the media, if you're here for the Cagle case, if you all will please log off now.
Continue to keep you guys updated on when he appears. And like I said, our Tyler Fingert has been covering this story, so we'll let you know how that happens in federal court as it progresses. In the meantime, I want to take you out live now to Capitol Hill, where the government shutdown has now reached the second longest in history. We're still at a stalemate right now because there's no breakthrough in sight to ending this government shutdown, which has entered its third week. Both sides are holding firm as Republicans refuse to negotiate with Democrats over Obamacare. So an ongoing issue. And we do have live pictures, of course, from the Senate floor where senators are set to vote for a 12th time to reopen the government. They're, of course, going to have to wait for Senator Jeff Merkley to wrap up a marathon speech blasting the president. That was started around 6:30 yesterday, Tuesday evening. And we know that Senate Republicans are also talking on the sidelines about how to coax a few Democrats into ending this second longest shutdown. So keep in mind here, as we go back in time, President Donald Trump greeted a bunch of GOP senators in the Rose Garden yesterday. That was an opportunity for him to show unification within the Republican Party as they look to end this shutdown. We do know that it doesn't look like an opening to the government is going to happen anytime soon as you take a live look at the White House, because Democrats are adamantly withholding their votes until Republicans agree to extend expiring health insurance premiums, or rather, I should say, subsidies. That is something that is the big point of contention here, is whether or not to extend Obamacare. I do want to tell you as well that in the meantime, hundreds of thousands of federal workers have called out sick and have also been furloughed. The FAA says travelers are feeling this impact with delays and staffing shortages at major United States airports. The Senate again does plan to take a vote later this week to pay essential employees like our air traffic controllers and TSA workers during the shutdown, but it is not clear whether that bill has enough votes to pass. So we'll continue to keep you updated as that progresses. But also, I do want to show you images of the White House because construction has started on the White House ballroom. You're taking a live look at the White House there now in Washington, D.C. And if you look off to the left there, you can actually see cranes and construction smoke there in the bottom, some dust as they begin to work. Keep in mind here, this is part of a new massive renovation project. Heavy machinery has demolished part of the White House's East Wing. That started Monday, and I know we do have some video of that process as it began. This is the start of construction for that massive new ballroom. The goal here is to host hundreds of guests at major events and state dinners. After these images went viral on social media, the Treasury Department, which is actually the White House's next door neighbor, instructed employees not to share photos of the demolition. President Trump has complained that the White House's current largest space, the East Room, isn't adequate for hosting large events. So this new 90,000 square foot addition is going to come with a $200 million price tag. The president says he and a group of high-profile donors are going to pay for this ballroom, but not everyone is thrilled with the project. So we'll continue to keep you updated. When we look at the historical context for this, we do know that the White House has had several major renovations over the years. Under President Truman, the entire interior of the building was gutted and expanded. Only the exterior walls were preserved. But while this is the largest renovation, it's not the first change President Trump has made this year. And he's also updated the Rose Garden and installed large American flags on both lawns. So again, just to give you some context for a lot of the changes that are taking place at the White House. Coming up here, we're going to get a check of your weather forecast. We're also going to take you to Douglas County, where a group of concerned citizens are now going to be taking a look at the books and the budget issues that the county's been facing. So that's coming up next. Well, welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming along with us. You guys, there is a story in Douglas County I want to let you guys know about because a group of citizens are actually working to take a look at the budgeting issues in their county. The county had successfully, or rather these concerned citizens had successfully pushed back on a property tax increase, and our Kevin Stewart has been following this story for us. Kevin, what are you learning?
Yeah, well, this project we may see come to fruition sometime early next year. The county commissioner behind this project says the time is right for a citizen-led audit committee. You may remember back in the summertime there was a huge outpour of upset citizens after the county commission proposed a 30% increase in property taxes. That was rejected. What citizens wanted, they didn't want a property tax increase. What they wanted was transparency. So last night, the county commission, at a 4-1 vote, led a 4-1 vote to create a taxpayer-led audit committee to monitor county spending. This will be a 7-member panel. 5 of them will be taxpayers with a financial background. They will be volunteers and will get a chance to monitor everything from financial statements to purchase card usage.
From a timing standpoint, very, very good to just show our residents that we are very committed to making sure that we're very transparent and open and utilizing best practices from the resources from the funds that we collect from our citizens through property tax as well as sales tax.
And what will the
How do you
I'm taking a look at this and not sure if you can hear me right now, but I do want to jump in here because based on what we just heard from Martin Raxton, the Douglas County Commissioner, and of course you were telling us about those concerned citizens who've stepped up, to think that 5 taxpayers with financial backgrounds are going to be volunteering to do this, one might say this is how local government should work and this is how people should make their voices heard. Is that kind of the feeling that you're getting from this new decision that's been made? What's been some of the feedback?
Yeah, you know, this has actually been in the works for about 5 or 6 months, but really began to speed up after that whole controversy with the property tax increase. There are several communities that do this in Metro Atlanta. Not everybody in the state does this, but I do know that Cobb County does this, Fulton County does this, but their members on their board, I believe Fulton County has 3 taxpayers on its audit committee, and I believe Cobb County only has 2, so Douglas County is going to have 5, a much bigger body, 5 taxpayers and 2 commissioners. They'll come up with reports after they do their digging and then make recommendations to the full Douglas County Commission.
So interesting. You know, another thing that comes to my mind was something you said when we first started our conversation here, which was the 30% property tax increase. I mean, obviously no one wants their taxes to go up, but it sounds like it wasn't the increase that was the issue. It was that the taxpayers wanted more transparency on where their money was going. What do you think that this is going to reveal? Do you feel like with this, the taxpayers are going to say, okay, now we get to see where that's going and we think that we could see further increases down the line, or is that something that was put to bed when this started?
Well, this property tax increase proposal, that's already a dead issue. Certainly, you would expect that a county commission anywhere in the country, let alone the state, will increase property taxes. But in this particular instance, the hope is more transparency will help taxpayers understand why certain things are done. I did have a chance to talk to a woman who was doing business here at the courthouse, and I said, would a move like this help you understand the next time the county asked for a property tax increase? And her answer was, with a chuckle, I hope they don't raise property taxes. So you know how that goes.
Sure.
But certainly just more transparency will help some people, and other people certainly won't change their mind. But everything that your government can do to help communicate and be honest with you, it's got to help, right?
Yeah, you want to know if you're paying, you want to know where your dollars are going. So definitely helpful. Kevin, I'm sure you're going to stay tuned as this process unfolds, and I always appreciate our conversation. So thanks for letting us know about this in Douglas County. Guys, I do want to take you overseas now, because if you've been keeping up with this crazy story in France, you know some crown jewels are still missing after a heist at the Louvre Museum. So what is wild about this is that those jewels are still missing, and a manhunt is still underway for the thieves. New video that you're seeing just a second ago, released by a French broadcaster of the heist, allegedly shows one of the 4 thieves wearing a yellow vest standing by the glass case Sunday morning. It comes as French officials are facing mounting questions as to how this could have happened. You know, people are asking, how did these thieves use a ladder? How were they able to scale a building in broad daylight to be able to get in and get the jewels? And they were able to smash the display cases, stealing those priceless historic items in just minutes. You can see some of them here on your screen. This is what we're talking about. Items worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Despite alarms alerting security, the intruders were able to escape, taking 8 objects with them. And according to a Paris prosecutor, they are worth more than $100 million, but it doesn't include their historical value to France. So you might imagine these items mean a lot to the national pride of France. The dramatic heist has left much of the world stunned, as you might imagine, and dozens of investigators are now trying to figure out who's responsible before they get rid of the stolen goods, because the big concern here, obviously, is that these jewels are going to be stripped and will not be sold in their original form because people would recognize them as the stolen jewels. So we'll continue to keep you updated. I say open because the Louvre, we've learned today, has just reopened after the heist. So crazy story. We'll keep you updated as it unfolds. In the meantime, I'm going to bring you back here to studio where we have meteorologist Alex Forbes. Yep. Alex, lovely day outside, but I know in other parts we're tracking some interesting developments. Right. So, you know.
Tropical storm Melissa, now kind of the talk of the town here in the weather department. I want to show you what's going on here with the latest advisory. We've got the 2 o'clock advisory in, and I think Melissa is actually going to end up being one of the most impactful storms of this hurricane season.
Really? Okay.
Just not so much for us here in the United States, I don't think, at least at the moment. So we'll see if we can get that in graphic 7 potentially and get that pulled up. At any rate, the storm, it's still at tropical storm status. It's not at hurricane status yet, but the key with Melissa is that it is going to be moving very slow, and that is going to be a problem in terms of rainfall. So we were talking earlier, it was funny, Ariel asked me, what category is the storm? And I was like, it's going to be a tropical storm, but I think the mantra with this is that it's not going to matter what the category is, it's going to matter how slow it's moving, and that's what's really going to drive the rainfall here. So we'll see if we can get the track, but what it's going to do is it's in the Caribbean now, and it's just going to kind of meander around Jamaica. And that's important to note because what that's going to do is keep a lot of rain on the southern coast of Hispaniola, and as we track this here over the next little bit, that's going to be.
So let's do this. We're going to figure this out. I'm going to see if I can pull it up. Let's bring up our camera here. We are taking a live look at the King and Queen buildings in Sandy Springs. So while we're looking at this, let's see if we can bring up that image full here for a minute. And Alex, you go ahead and talk about that for just a second.
Right, yeah, so we're looking at 285 over towards Dunwoody at this hour. You see the State Farm headquarters there off in the distance. So it was a cool morning out there. Temperatures got down to 57 here in Atlanta, but it was much cooler than that up towards the north. In fact, we cracked 37, I believe, once again, when you found your way up towards, say, Blairsville and up towards Blue Ridge and those spots here over the morning hours. Now, here, as we look at this through the afternoon, lots of blue sky. That's going to continue to be the case through the day today, and we're going to be looking for much more in the way of weather concern beyond that. Now, what I am going to be looking for here over the next couple of days are cooler mornings. We had that cold front come through yesterday, and that's seeing the result this morning, right? Cooler temperatures, a nice afternoon, maybe some more clouds by the time we get towards the back half of the week, but by and large, some nice fall days ahead here in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. So I've got 70 for 5 o'clock this evening. It's one of those days where if you're standing in the direct sunlight, rather warm, in the shade, you're catching a little bit of a breeze. It is kind of cool out there. Overnight lows, I've got 43 in Covington, 38 in Blairsville, 41 in Canton and in Dalton tonight. And then for tomorrow, getting back into the 70s once again. Cool morning out there at the bus stop.
Yeah.
But then into the afternoon, we really begin to warm up.
Okay, guys, so obviously you're still taking a look. We're taking a look at our graphics, and we're going to figure that out. But I do want to let you know, Alex, what you're seeing, of course, looks like the bus stop temperature pretty cool as people do get out. So something to keep in mind. I feel like when I wake up in the mornings now, I'm finally feeling a bit of sweater weather.
Right. Well, and part of the reason why is because our sunrises are now so late. They're almost to 8 o'clock now.
They are. I'm ready to fall back. I must say.
A week from this weekend.
Yeah. As we get a little later, and maybe you guys can attest to this, as we get a little later into the year, I feel like the last 2 weeks of October are just, kind of torturous. I almost wish we could fall back a little sooner, just because our sun rises so late.
Right.
And how do you get anything done?
So would you be okay with the sun setting at like 5:30 right about now then?
I don't love that either, but I think I'd prefer it because I do have to get up early.
Yeah.
And so getting up and knowing that it's not going to be light outside until at least 7:30, it's not ideal for me.
Yeah. That's the funny thing is that a lot of people say that they don't like daylight saving time.
Sure.
And I think what they're actually saying is that they don't like the shorter days, which is something we can't control.
Sure.
We're trying to fix something in the process, and then it's not working, and it's just like,
Yeah. Man, it's true. It is true. Okay, well, Alex, thank you so much for that update. You guys, coming up next, we are going to get a check of some national news for you. I want to let you know what has happened with the latest between Putin and President Trump. Russian President Vladimir Putin and President Donald Trump, their meeting was canceled. We're going to talk about why, and also what some senators had to say with the NATO chief today. So that's coming up. Welcome back. Thanks so much for streaming with us here on your Wednesday afternoon. It is great to have you. I'm Ariel Onstadt. I do want to get you a check of a story that we continue to follow here nationally and internationally. And this deals with the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. But you may not know, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte quickly flew to Washington, D.C. today for an urgent meetings with both the President of the United States and members of Congress. The purpose of these last-minute meetings, Mark Rutte wants to figure out how to best support Ukraine. This comes after Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky met with President Donald Trump last Friday, and he left empty-handed without the Tomahawk missiles he wanted from the United States to help repel Russia. We watched bipartisan news conference earlier today with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte and U.S. Senators Tom Tillis and Jeanne Shaheen this morning. Both senators provided updates on the NATO situation with Ukraine and Russia. These senators are part of the NATO Observer Group, and so they were able to speak specifically to the issues and provided an update on how our Senate supports NATO. So we're going to probably bring up that news conference, and I'd like you guys to listen in on what the senators had to say.
I especially want to thank the Secretary General and the Ambassador for being here, where we've been given an update on a number of things, including what I think are very promising developments in our cooperation among the NATO members for resupplying not only Ukraine, but modernizing the whole of NATO. I want to express my appreciation for my partner, my Democratic colleague, Jeanne Shaheen, for all the work that she's done over the years with the Senate NATO Observer Group, and yield to you for questions. Maybe give an update on legislative
That'd be great.
Activity as well.
Well, I will just echo the appreciation to have Mark Rutte, the Secretary General, and Ambassador Whitaker here to give us an update on what's happening with NATO and Europe. I reported to them that we're very excited that in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee this morning we passed out the first 3 bills that address Russia's unprovoked war in Ukraine today. One would declare Russia a state sponsor of terrorism because of their kidnapping of Ukrainian children, and the second would allow us to move forward using the repossessed assets from Russia to support Ukraine in this war, and the third would be to take an effort at China to stop the war effort, their support for the war effort from China. All of those bills passed unanimously out of committee, have strong bipartisan support, and we look forward to getting them to the floor soon so that we can join the Europeans as they look at using the repossessed assets in Ukraine and all join hands and do everything we can to support Ukraine. So, Secretary General, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for hosting me and Ambassador Whitaker this morning. And I want to thank the senators for their staunch support for NATO. Since President Trump was re-elected, NATO has been renewed, reinvigorated. We decided in The Hague under his leadership to spend 5% on defense, therefore also basically equalizing what the Europeans and Canada are spending on defense with the US. So the Europeans and the Canadians stepping up. Also when it comes to Ukraine, the President deciding to send weapons again to Ukraine, but paid for by allies. We are working very hard on that project. The first couple of billion of weapons already shipped into Ukraine from the US, paid for by allies. And of course, Europeans stepping up when it comes to security assurances for Ukraine post a long-term ceasefire or peace deal. But of course, we all pray for that to happen soon. I will see the President later today. We will discuss further how we from NATO can be helpful in delivering his vision of getting a full-scale peace in Ukraine, which of course we all pray for after his enormous success in Gaza. So again, thank you so much for hosting us, Senators, and thank you for your leadership.
We have time for a couple of questions.
Secretary General, Sky News, can we just ask, is your visit here at this moment not an indication that President Trump's meeting with President Zelensky on Friday was a total disaster?
No, not at all, because this was already planned before. I was texting with the President after an enormous success in Gaza, and we said, hey, let's have a meeting in Washington to discuss how we now can deliver his vision on peace in Ukraine. And when it comes to the meeting last week, Friday, you have also heard President Zelensky. I think that was a good meeting. It was a successful meeting. It's exactly what we need. It's the American president who broke the deadlock with Putin in February, took that leadership role, which only he can.
Jen, I think we're getting ready.
All right, stand by. Well, welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming along with us. Hey, what does Chile have in common with paws, I should say, the paws of some pets that really want a great home? Chris Rosenthal joins us live to tell us. And Chris, it seems like this chili cook-off is for a really great cause. And of course, we know that the Georgia Paw Project, or rather I should say Paw Project of Georgia, is hosting this for a really great effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I am at the Paw Project of Georgia here in Lawrenceville. This is their new facility. They've been in here since September. You know, let's just go right to the dogs, though. Let me show you some of the new arrivals that came in this morning. And this is what are their names?
Rafe is
this one,
brown and black, and
Pope is this one hiding down here.
And that's Pope. And these are a couple of new guys you'll soon be able to adopt, and they will be. They may be at this chili cook-off that's going to be coming up
November 1st.
November
that's right.
1st. And I'm here with Jane Stewart with the Paw Project. First of all, tell me a little about what Paw Project is about.
Sure. Paw Project is a nonprofit. We're a rescue, but we also have a veterinarian clinic that does low-cost vet services, and we also have a low-cost spay-neuter program that operates here. Until a few months ago, our place was about half this size, so we're very excited to be in a bigger building and be able to do more to help animals in Georgia. And so basically our main mission is to cut down on the number of healthy adoptable animals that lose their life at animal control. So we found that by keeping animals healthy and in their own homes, that's a big way to help reduce the euthanasia rate. So
and it costs a lot to have an animal and to take care of it, and you guys offer for those that may not, that may be a barrier for them.
That's right. That's exactly right. We try to help anybody, but it is about the third of a cost of a regular veterinary service. So we don't do x-rays and extensive work like that, but we do vaccines, testing, microchips, stuff like that, blood work we do as well, and then we do the spay and neuter also.
And dogs and cats, right?
Dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats. And do you take from just Gwinnett County or all over?
Nope, all over. We have people that have driven here from Macon to use our services. So, and these pups came from up near Livonia, and so we really do serve a pretty wide swath of Georgia.
Now, if you want to adopt guys like this, what would somebody need to do?
They would need to go on our website. They'll go up on our website soon, probably in the next few days. You would fill out an adoption application. We just want to make sure that you get the dog that suits you best and you suit the dog the best. We want them to be indoors, of course, and a family member. And then we do have an adoption fee for puppies. It's $325. But that includes their spay and neuter surgery, up to date on vaccines, microchipped, and pretty ready to go. So, yeah, you just fill out an application, let us know, and come see them, and you can take them home.
Yeah, and this is a new facility, so you guys are really growing. There's a need here.
It is. It's new for us. We started out in 2022, and we really outgrew our other facility. So we found this property and saved some money and bought it. So we're excited to own our own property as well.
And so this event that's coming up, tell me about it, because it costs money to do these programs.
Yes, it does. It does, and we're always trying to fundraise. The Chili Cook-Off, it's our second year we're having it. Last year we had over 250 people there. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. It's down at Slow Pour Brewing, which is just literally not even a mile from here. And you can come and taste chili. You can vote for your favorite chili. We'll have a big raffle, lots of great raffle items. You can look on our Facebook page, and we'll be posting those coming up this next week as well. We'll have face painting. It's a very family-friendly place, and so come, bring your dog if you want to, bring your cat if you want to, and we'll have dogs and cats there that are also up for adoption.
Awesome. So that'll be Saturday,
November 1st.
November 1st
Yep,
at
12 to 4.
Slow Pour in Lawrenceville.
Chris, thank you so much. This looks like a lot of fun, and what a great cause. I wish I could give those puppies some hugs and kisses, so please do it for me.
He's such a handsome
Okay,
boy.
guys,
Will do.
coming up, we are going to continue to keep you updated on the news of the day. Our streaming will continue here in our 3 o'clock hour. It's been a pleasure to stand here with you guys on our Wednesday afternoon. I'm Ariel Onstadt. The news continues at 3.
long-term ceasefire or peace deal. But of course, we all pray for that to happen soon. I will.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live with you in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom with all the stories that are going to be relevant to you today. A lot of them happening live right here and right now. Want to take you live to Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where just 2 days after a Bartow County man threatened to shoot up the airport with an AR-15 style rifle, he is now in federal custody and will be headed to court soon. Our Tyler Fingert broke this story when it happened. He joins us now live from the federal courthouse in downtown Atlanta. Tyler, tell us about the charges Billy Cagle now faces.
Yeah, Tom, good afternoon to you. As you mentioned, Billy Cagle is expected to be here in federal court as soon as 4 p.m. this afternoon. That is where he will answer for the charges that a criminal indictment that the federal government is putting and levying against him after what happened on Monday at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Earlier today, we were expecting him in Clayton County Court. He was going to appear in the magistrate court there for his first appearance. That did not happen because just 30 minutes before that appearance, he was taken into federal custody. Take a listen.
I just got word that defendant Cagle has been taken into federal custody. Can you guys confirm that he's not there?
Yes, sir. That is correct. They came and got him approximately 30 minutes ago.
Okay. All right, so let me just announce, we have a lot of folks from the media on. I want to welcome you all. We just got word that about 30 minutes ago, the defendant Billy Cagle was taken into federal custody, so we will not be having a first appearance hearing for him today. So I'll ask folks from the media, if you're here for the Cagle case, if you all will please log off now.
And again, that was happened at about 11 a.m. this morning, with Cagle now facing federal charges. His 6-page federal criminal complaint released today lays out the case against the 49-year-old convicted felon who was arrested Monday at the world's busiest airport after allegedly making violent threats during a FaceTime call that he was going to, quote, shoot up the airport. The complaint says that Cagle's wife and another person were the ones who actually drove to the Cartersville Police Department and reported him for being, quote, unstable, which then set off a chain reaction of events that landed him in cuffs a short time later. The document says Cagle told the other person, who was not identified, that he was driving on Interstate 75 with a gun and planned to, quote, shoot some cars. It went on to say as Cagle's wife and the witness drove to speak to an officer, Cagle was on FaceTime allegedly showing airport signage and saying, quote, I'm at the airport, I'm going to go rat-a-tat-tat, a phrase investigators believe was meant to imitate gunfire. Cartersville police reached out to Atlanta Airport Police, and within a matter of minutes, Cagle was found and arrested. When investigators searched his truck, which they say he illegally parked in the drop-off area, they found an AR-15 rifle with 27 rounds of ammunition. Cagle faces 3 federal charges. Those are attempted violence at an international airport, interstate communications containing threats, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Cagle's attorney, Preston Halliburton, released this statement to me a short time ago. I was speaking to him on the phone. He told me, quote, we are currently in a fact-gathering mode. At the outset, we believe there's some miscommunication to the public, and at the appropriate time, we look forward to clearing up any of these possible miscommunications. Our legal team looks forward to working with Renee Rockwell, a seasoned lawyer here in Atlanta. And as we come back out here live to the federal courthouse in downtown Atlanta at about 4 p.m., that is what time we are hearing that he could appear for the first time here in federal court for his initial appearance. I did reach out to his attorney, as I mentioned, and you heard that statement. I asked if we know if that time is for certain. He said that they're still trying to piece that together, but obviously his attorneys are going to want to be present for that. We're, of course, going to stay on top of this and bring you the very latest as we get it, Tom.
Yeah, Tyler, you know, you've been right on top of this story since it broke, and I'm interested to drill down at least a little bit on the federal charges Cagle faces, which I understand, including among them, felon in possession of a firearm. We heard from the Clayton County judge this morning, who literally found out while he was sort of on the call with you guys that Cagle is facing the federal charges. Are the federal charges because this intent was carried out at an international airport? In other words, where do the federal charges sort of come in here?
So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, airport is definitely a place with a lot of federal partners that operate at airports. Because of the interstate commerce, you'd have to assume that the feds were really interested in making sure that something like this never happens again and doesn't have the possibility of happening. So they're trying, you would think, to make an example. We have not heard from the U.S. Attorney specifically on camera about this, but they have the jurisdiction to be able to take cases like this. When I was looking up the charges last night when we got the word at about 6:30 that he was going to be facing 3 federal charges, he stands to face up to like 25 years in prison for this. This is obviously a lengthy prison sentence if he is convicted of the 3 counts that he is charged with. But yeah, basically an airport, you have a lot of federal partners there. It is the interstate commerce. You have also international flights, so the FBI can take jurisdiction in a lot of situations. And the thing I found interesting is the FBI actually has at least one agent, but I believe multiple agents based at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. They were the people who actually wrote up that criminal complaint I was just referencing. And it was just interesting to know that they are there anytime something happens on an airplane. Because normally you would think that the FBI and the federal charges would come from something that was maybe in flight, but in this case this was on the ground, still at the airport, and that's why obviously they're probably taking this very seriously from a federal standpoint.
Yeah, some great insight there, Tyler. And one has to wonder whether Cagle's defense team will use the fact that his family said that he suffers from, mental disabilities as this court proceeding starts to unfold.
Yeah, so obviously he wasn't able to tell me a whole lot on the phone before he gave me that statement that I read for you. But what he was telling me was that, as you heard in the statement, he believes there may be some miscommunication with some of the facts that may have been presented, and he's obviously in that fact-gathering status right now to try to look into this case, because just like all of this happened on Monday, he still needs to gather all the evidence before he could say something definitively on camera. But he did say as soon as he can, he will talk. So obviously they're going to have to look at everything. Lawyers are going to do the jobs that they need to do to be able to defend their clients, and that's something that here in the United States that everyone has that right to.
Of course. And while we have you here on camera, just reflecting on the events of this week and how it all unfolded, we went from, a suspect headed to the airport with an AR-15 style rifle, the family tipping off police, that dramatic news conference with Atlanta police that we saw yesterday, recounting the events that led up to Cagle's capture, which literally happened within the span of minutes, Tyler, between when they got that call and when it was passed on to officials there at the airport, taking him down and averting certain disaster.
Yeah, you just got to be thankful for the officers who got that first initial call. Those, as we just said, Cagle's wife and another person went to the Cartersville Police Department. The Cartersville Police Department took that seriously. They not only called the Bartow County 911 to start putting out a bolo for him, but they also then called the Atlanta Airport Police to be able to take this case to the next level. The airport police sergeant that we heard from yesterday took this case incredibly seriously, realizing that this was a possible threat to the airport. She immediately got the information out to the officers on the ground in the airport who were out on beat patrol. I mean, if you go to the airport, they're always around. There's always people in different areas. Sometimes you see even canines as well. And they immediately started looking for him. And again, within I think it was 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes, they found him. They took him into custody, and they averted what the mayor said, what could have been a very dangerous situation where we could have had people dead at the airport. But thankfully, those police officers were able to find him before he allegedly was able to commit any crime.
Yeah, and just so reassuring as passengers to know that force exists within the airport, and the terrific response time on the part of Atlanta Police. Tyler, great reporting. Thanks so much. Speaking of the airport, we're in the midst of a government shutdown, and that means a lot of federal employees are not being paid. Among them, TSA workers who are now going without paid checks. That's Eric Perry, who joins us now live with an effort, Eric, underway by one local food pantry to support these workers as they go without pay during this government shutdown, trying to help them feed their families.
Yeah, that's really the goal, Tom. Hello to you. I've been here all throughout the morning. We've seen TSA workers going in and leaving out with carts full of food here. It's at Nicole's Food Pantry, or Nicole's House of Hope, excuse me. Let's take a look at some of the video that we have when we were inside earlier. As you see, TSA workers able to get a lot of different items, anywhere from cleaning supplies, groceries, snacks, anything for that family there. Again, TSA workers have been with federal workers for weeks without a paycheck, and it's really starting to hit home for so many. So that's why the organizers here with Nicole's House of Hope here in South Fulton, they service Metro Atlanta. They wanted to do something specifically for those TSA workers. Very easy for them to do. All they needed to do was show up with ID. We also saw some of those who might have come right when they got off of work, and word hit fast. So around 12 o'clock when we talked to them, they were at about 50 to 60 people. We've since seen that number go up, probably close to 100 by now. It's open until 5 o'clock today. We talked with the organizer, Melody Williams, and also Archie Calloway there. Take a listen with what they had to say.
He was always telling them, I need to get my medicine, I need to get my medicine, I have to have my medicine.
And what kind of medicine was it?
It was blood thinners.
And how do you know that?
Because he told us. He was complaining, and then for several hours while
I'm kind of touchy about this subject because I'm not one of the ones that are going through it, but there's so many around me that are, and it just prompted me to step in. They have an oath to the government where they still stand on their work, and they still are coming. They're still making sure that you guys are traveling, are safe, things of that nature, but they're not being compensated.
They didn't realize when they was coming that we were going to show them this kind of respect and this kind of love. And they probably had no idea that they would be able to walk out of here with 3 and 4 bags of stuff.
Alrighty, so I just want to clarify, the medicine comment did not have anything to do with this story. I think that's a little preview for what's to come. Starting with Melody talking about TSA workers, they're still working to keep you safe at the airport without getting paid. That is really the goal here. I was with them last Christmas. They did something at the West End Mall, and then they said they had to do by. She's also urging other organizations in the area to get out and do what they can. She says, you're in the community, so you need to service the community that is around. So of course we're working on so much other stuff when you join us starting at 4 o'clock, but it's really been emotional for some people. I've seen one woman, she hugged one of the organizers there, just really emotional, saying thank you so much, I really needed this. Hard times that a lot of people are living in, and this is just a little glimmer of hope there. We'll have more for that story when you join us starting at 4, Tom.
What an extraordinary effort, Eric. Is it only limited because we know other federal workers are going without pay too, air traffic controllers and such? Is it limited to the TSA workers, or if you show up and say, hey, I work at another part of the airport, I'm not getting paid, do you think you can help me out too?
I don't think that they will turn away just because Melody is such a beautiful spirit that she has, but she is targeting or wanting to highlight the TSA workers right now. But I think at some point she says she wants to expand. Hopefully, the shutdown doesn't last too much longer, but if so, she'll expand to other federal workers there, I think.
We are hearing rumblings that something might be brewing in Washington, D.C. Let's hope so, for the sake of these people who have gone without a paycheck. They will get back pay, I understand, but in the meantime, there's no cash coming into these households, and so efforts like the one that you're showcasing today are so important, Eric. Thanks. Speaking of happenings in Washington, D.C., the NATO Secretary General hustled into Washington this morning to meet with congressional leaders and President Trump, all after it was revealed yesterday from Secretary of State Marco Rubio that he spoke to his counterpart, and there will be no meeting with Vladimir Putin in Brussels, or in Hungary, I should say, between Vladimir Putin and President Trump. There was supposed to be a meeting as it relates to Ukraine, but that's not going to happen. And so the NATO Secretary General is in Washington meeting with members of Congress and the president about how to best back up Ukraine after Volodymyr Zelensky left the White House last Friday, which you saw unfold here live in the 3 p.m. streaming hour, without the Tomahawk missile agreement that he wanted to help repel Russia. So what has changed potentially? Well, since there's no negotiation now with Putin, or at least no face-to-face negotiation with the president, maybe the Tomahawks are back on the table now. These Tomahawk cruise missiles enable Ukraine to be able to strike deeper into Russia, perhaps even striking the capital, Moscow, and those missiles would come from NATO. We don't want any direct involvement with the United States and Ukraine, because that could set up a situation where you have the U.S. versus Russia, and nobody wants that. So NATO is sort of the intermediary here, and so Mark Rutte is there in Washington for an emergency meeting with Congress to try to figure out how to move forward. As I mentioned, the prospects of that second summit now are pretty much nil, at least for now, although the president made some comments earlier today that it might happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. You know, the president's very evasive about his negotiations with world leaders and when it comes to conflicts like the ones that we're talking about now. And so some back-channel negotiations are still ongoing, but the whole thing centers around territory, the Donbass region, and how much of that Russia may or may not get. That's the sticking point here, and how much Ukraine is willing to surrender. And so last week, the president said he had a great call with Putin. They're going to meet in Hungary, but then the Secretary of State said that that is not going to happen, at least for now. So we'll continue to monitor the situation as it relates to the NATO Secretary General being in Washington, whether Ukraine gets the Tomahawk missiles, and whether the president and the Russian leader meet. Our coverage continues here. It's a busy afternoon of news. We're thick in the middle of the work week, and we're still watching the weather outside. We've been treated to some beautiful fall weather for the past couple of weeks. Is it going to continue into the weekend? Meteorologist Alex Forbes standing off in the wings, waiting to join us, and he will as we continue. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us today, streaming with us here on Fox Local or listening to us on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. We're so glad you're with us. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We've already covered a lot of ground this hour. I want to take you to the DeKalb County Jail, where last week there was the death of a 59-year-old man because allegedly he had some sort of medical emergency. But another prisoner at the jail said that it was because he didn't get the medicines that he needed. Our Angelique Proctor is on top of this story, digging into it a little bit deeper. Angelique, what more do we know about what happened here?
Well, good afternoon to you, Tom. This former DeKalb County inmate is speaking out, and he's actually accusing DeKalb jail officials of being negligent in the care of that 59-year-old inmate. His name was Rodney Garrett Sr. Now take a look. We should have his picture. Inmate Garrett was arrested by Chamblee police on the 12th of this month on 2 misdemeanor charges. One charge was giving a false name, address, or birth date to an officer. The other charge was possession of a drug-related object. Now inmate Garrett was booked here into the DeKalb County Jail, and one of his cellmates tells us that the 59-year-old kept telling jail officials he needed his medicine. But former inmate Octavius Scales says Garrett never got his medicine, and 2 days later, Garrett was dead.
I always telling them I need to get my medicine. I need to get my medicine. I have to have my medicine.
And what kind of medicine was it?
It was blood thinners.
And how do you know that?
Because he told us. He was complaining, and then for several hours while we was also in there, he was complaining about needing water, and for almost 4 hours, we didn't have any water.
Former inmate was actually in custody for a DUI and has since been released. He says he watched Garrett suffer and then die in the cell. This next soundbite might be disturbing to you. He says what he wants now is justice for the 59-year-old.
I was there. Unfortunately, it was time for him to be released, and when they came in, they tried to tell him to wake up and pack it up, but he was unresponsive and his body was blue and purple.
So he literally was in the same cell area you were in?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your reaction to seeing that?
Very upset. Me and a lot of other inmates, we put aside our hardness, the hardness that you have to, portray and stuff in jail, and, we were sobbing because the old guy, he was a pretty cool guy.
Inmates actually crying there after this happened. Now, we reached out to the DeKalb jail to get their side of this. What they are saying to us is that while this incident appears to have been a sudden and unanticipated medical emergency, a full investigation is underway both internally and by the medical examiner's office. Now, we remain committed to transparency and accountability in all aspects of our jail operations. And I did talk with Garrett's family today. They are really just shocked and were very devastated. They did not expect this, did not see it coming. His mother said she was really too emotional to talk on camera. And one of the things that she said that really kind of got my attention is that her son, Garrett, died on her birthday. So that is something that she will never be able to forget. Of course, we will continue to follow this story to see if we have any more developments from the jail here.
Well, you can imagine that family definitely wants some answers. Angelique, thanks. As we continue here, it wasn't too long ago that Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, was assassinated on the campus of a Utah university. In the wake of that tragedy, Orrin Hudson, he's a local chess champion, if you will. He is a former Alabama State Trooper, a U.S. Air Force veteran. He's got all kinds of titles. He's organizing sort of an anti-violence rally that's set to take place in Stone Mountain tomorrow from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Orrin, thanks for being with us. Tell us a little bit more about this rally, what inspired it, and how you're involved.
Well, I'm a former state trooper. I'm an Air Force veteran. I've always been committed to teaching young people to think it out, don't shoot it out. My method is brains, beats bullets, 24/7, 365. Think thrice and save a life. We got to teach people that human life has value. We're going to provide free food, free parking, free training. It's 4:30 to 6:30 tomorrow. It's think thrice and save a life.
And so if I want to find out more about this event, where do I go? Where do I show up? And what do you want me to sort of bring to this event? An open mind? You know, violence is going to, for whatever kind of violence it is, whether it was the tragedy involving, the senseless tragedy involving Charlie Kirk, or violence that rocks our community, really.
You know, human life has value. Any man death diminishes me, for I'm involved with mankind. Therefore, never sin for knowing whom the bell's tolled. The bell tolls for thee. I want you to bring a positive attitude and know that we all are one. When I was a state trooper for 7 years, I had the blue light, the badge, the bulletproof vest. But everybody I stopped, I treated them like the most important person in the world. Here's why. What you sincerely desire for others will happen for you.
And those are some wise words. How many people are you expecting at this event tomorrow out at Stone Mountain?
Well, the sky's the limit. I'm on Fox Live, so who knows? But we want people to show up with a positive attitude and know that I'm here to help. If there are parents out there that are struggling with their child, I'm here to add value, to help them get a job, to teach them how to make the next move the best move. And that's 6 magic words. Take time to think things through. Don't do the first thing that pops in your head. The first thing that pops in your head is usually a trap.
I always love to hear little vignettes or examples, if you have one, of somebody's life that you may have turned around, or somebody that shows up to one of your events who may have been traveling down the wrong path, but saw the light, turned it around, and is now working with an organization like yours to spread the good word.
I helped a kid who took a loaded gun to school. His mom wrote him off and called him the child from hell. I said, you know what? We ain't writing this kid off. You know, everybody is important. You know, I believe in second chances. I believe in teaching people that you can be the champion that God created you to be. I teach young people that your mind is a pearl. You can change the world. Another kid, Aaron Porter, the judge wrote him, the judge said, listen, I'm going to give you one more chance to get your life together. He almost went to jail for attempted murder on his own father. I turned his life around. We traveled to Augusta, Georgia. He became a state champion. So I'm committed to teaching young people how to dream, how to make the next move, the best move. Man up, stand up, pull your pants up.
Well, it's a noble effort indeed. Just I want to be clear about where this is happening. This is the Make the Hood Good Strategic Leadership Training tomorrow between 4:30 and 6 p.m. Where? At the training center?
It's 949 Stevenson Road, across the street from Stevenson Middle School. And every Thursday, I try to do something to give back, to teach young people how to get on the right track. And I try to help young people get jobs and show them how to be a productive citizen, how to get a good education, and how to stay away from the pitfalls of life. Brains before bullets. Think it out. Don't shoot it out. The only way to fight is to use your head.
I love it. I'm going to, after the program here, I'm going to get with our web folks, make sure they have the information so that if people want to attend the event or tell somebody to go, they'll know where to go. Orrin, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Want to bring in meteorologist Alex Forbes, who's been waiting to get on with us to talk about the weather, something we're all thinking about. Alex, it is Wednesday. You know, that front kind of came through yesterday, gave us barely any rain. Yeah. Okay, we need rain. Yeah. But now we're back to fantastic weather as we just took a live look out across Midtown and downtown Atlanta. Boy, what a treat outside.
It really is fantastic. If you can find a cloud, let me know, because I'm striking out today. And look, the temperature is pretty nice as well. They're looking at really a mix of 60s and 70s right now across parts of north and central Georgia. We'll see if we can pop that up here. But what we're going to be looking for into the evening tonight is a quick cool down. With the absence of cloud cover, we're really not going to see much in the way of a blanket over us through the overnight hours. So there you go. 63 in Blairsville, 68 in Gainesville. How about 72 in Hartwell, and quite the difference down in Milledgeville to 75 at this hour. This is what I'm talking about into the evening, though, as temperatures find their way down into the 60s by 7 o'clock. And of course, that sunset right before 7 o'clock now. So that's going to be twilight outside before we enter the free fall tonight. So there we go to 49 in Atlanta, 43 in Canton. Would not surprise me if in the higher elevations, Brasstown, Bald, Springer Mountain, places like that, you do get into the 30s once again. But mind you, our average high is 52, so we are going to be below that. Then for tomorrow, one of those days where it's chilly out there at the bus stop, and then in the afternoon, it's not chilly. 70s on the way for the afternoon, and that's going to stick around for Friday as well, but look at that into next week. 67 Monday, 68 Tuesday, 64 Wednesday. And that is going to come with a rain chance. And it's not going to be one of these quick moving fronts. It's going to be one of these low pressure systems that slides on through. And that's hopefully going to bring us maybe an inch or two of rain. I was looking at some of the numbers. We need about 3 to 6 inches to put a dent in the drought. So I don't think it's a drought buster, but it's not nothing. And here's the important part. It comes through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish. You know what next week is?
I'm thinking of daylight.
Halloween.
Oh, right.
Halloween's on Friday. Yeah, so we should get this mess out of here by Halloween, and that's going to set up a cool Halloween. I think highs probably low 60s.
But a nice Friday for us for Halloween.
A nice Friday.
Looking at the weekend, Saturday going to be a nice day.
Saturday is definitely the pick of the weekend.
Sunday starts to kind of cloud up a little bit.
Not a washout, but yeah, the chance of showers will be around.
All right. Alex, thanks.
Yep.
Lots still to get to as we continue here on Fox Local. Going to tell you about a great. Do you love pets? Who doesn't, right? When we come back, stay with us. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. Thanks so much for being with us today. I'm Tom Haynes with you live here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We're joined now by Laura Saldivar. Laura is behind a Drive It Home app, which is fantastic. If you have a teenage driver like I do, and they're out on the road, you're always kind of preoccupied and terrified that something's going to happen, because we're talking about young drivers, Laura, and you know, our roads are crazy right now. People are distracted. There are accidents, that things happen. And when a teenager doesn't have sort of the situational awareness or response time that a more experienced adult driver has, things can happen. So tell us about the Drive It Home app and how it sort of empowers parents to be more responsive to the needs of teen drivers.
Sure, and thank you guys for covering such an important topic. Car crashes are currently the leading cause of preventable death for young people in the United States. So at Drive It Home, we're an initiative of the National Safety Council in partnership with General Motors. And we worked with experts across the country to develop free resources to help parents that are at home with that new driver. And so this app encompasses all of that. It has practice lessons for every stage of driving before they're licensed and even beyond, because we know every moment can be a teachable moment. We can track practice hours and more. It has a parent-teen contract. We just really want families to get involved.
And what do we need to be mindful of as parents? What are the messages we need to pass along? Some strategy, if you will. I have a 16-year-old, and I'm still teaching her how to drive. She has her permit. But what are some of the tools that I can use to sort of make my young driver aware and alert of all the dangers that, you know, when I was learning how to drive, they were a little more forceful with warnings and dangers. They showed us a movie called Blood on the Asphalt, and it was literally very graphic video of car accidents. And when I say graphic, I mean like they were showing us body parts all over the roadway, and it scared the living daylights out of me, to the fact where when I got in the car, I was so careful after having seen that. But, you know, obviously we're more sensitive with teenagers now. We don't show them those kind of graphic things. So what can I use in place of something like that to set off alarm bells in the mind of my teenager?
Sure. So we try to steer away now from the fear tactics. But now the biggest thing we're telling parents is to get involved and to stay involved. So first and foremost, using resources like Drive It Home, making sure that you're getting those practice hours in. It's so critical and important. And as well as knowing what your state's graduated driver licensing laws are and following them. I always tell parents that those can be the household rules that sets the curfew, the number of passengers, you name it. So that's really what we tell families.
Okay. So if I'm a parent, how do I download the app, and what do I do? Go to my app store and then do what?
Sure. So you'll look for Drive It Home. It's all one word. It's it's free. It's available in English and in Spanish, and we have it both on for Android and for Apple.
All right, Laura Saldivar, great information, so important as it relates to teenage drivers. Laura, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we always love stories that involve adopting pets, because there are so many of them out there that need good homes. And our Chris Rosenthal is at one such event, the Paw Project. They're holding an event today at one of their facilities in Lawrenceville. Chris joins us now live. What's going on out there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm at the Paw Project of Georgia. This is their new offices, their new facilities. They've been expanding and have came here, got this new facility in September, and you know, we are actually joined by we were looking at dogs all day, but now we have some cats. Let me show you. These are some new cats that just came in, along with some dogs earlier today. For you know, these will be ready for adoption at some point. This is Marzipan and Lucas, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, Marzipan and Lucas. So pretty adorable little kittens right there. So just adjusting to their new temporary home here. But I'm joined by Jane Stewart here with the Paw Project of Georgia. And first of all, tell me a little bit about what Paw Project of Georgia is. What is the important work that you guys do?
Yeah, we are a nonprofit that does low-cost visits for cats and dogs. We see minor illnesses, vaccines, blood work, microchipping, that kind of stuff. And we also have a low-cost spay-neuter program that operates from this building as well, along with our rescue, which is what Marzipan and Lucas are a part of our rescue program. So those are our three main things. We concentrate on trying to help keep pets healthy and up to date on their vaccines so that they can stay with their owners and not end up in animal control facilities.
And you know, owning a pet is expensive, and it's expensive to take them to the vet. So you guys really help owners with those costs. Huh?
We do. We try to keep it affordable for them, and our cost is about a third of what you would pay at a regular vet. And there's certainly a need for good veterinarians, and we have a lot of them in this area that we support very much. But for minor illness and vaccinations and that kind of thing, we're a great option for people.
And it costs money to do this.
It
costs money to have a facility like this.
Yes.
So you guys rely on donations, fundraisers. Tell me about the fundraiser that you guys have coming up.
Yes, we have the Chili Cook-Off, which is on November 1st down at Slow Pour Brewing, which is less than a mile from here. It's in Lawrenceville. It's from 12 to 4 on November 1st, Saturday. That's the Saturday of the Georgia-Florida game. So if you like football, if you like chili, come out. You can taste chili, vote on your favorite chili, and you can watch the ball game. We have face painting. It's a very family friendly event. We have face painting for the children. We'll have adoptable cats and dogs there, and we're just trying to raise some money for the programs that we do here. And we also have a big raffle that's happening that day, so you can start your Christmas shopping early. And yeah,
and we still have about a week to go, so you're still looking for some chili chefs.
We are. Thank you for bringing that up. We have so far 11 folks that are coming to test their cooking skills at the Chili Cook-Off, but we'd like to have a few more cookers. So if you go to our website at pawprojectofgeorgia.org, you can sign up to cook, and you can learn more about the event.
And will these guys be there?
They probably will be there. They won't be quite ready for adoption, but we'll bring them out anyway, just to see the world around them.
This one's ready to go.
But yeah, we will have dogs and cats there. So.
God.
And also, if you want to make an appointment to see our vet here, you go online to do that, to that same website. So I meant to mention that earlier.
Wonderful. Perfect. Well, there you go. So just coming up, and not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, you guys can come out and get some chili and support a good cause at Slow Pour Brewing in downtown Lawrenceville.
How can you not want to take one of those kitties home? They are so cute, and I love the effort on behalf of that organization, the Chili Cook-Off, and it sounds like a fun event too. Chris Rosenthal live. Chris, thanks. When we come back, we're talking all things Hawks with Justin Felder. He's on deck as we continue here on Fox Local. We are back live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom here on Fox Local. Thanks so much for streaming with us today. I'm Tom Haynes, joined by Fox 5 Sports' Justin Felder to talk all things Hawks. We're going to talk a little UGA. DJ was with Mark Richt's charity today out in Athens. But let's start with the Hawks. It is their season opener at State Farm Arena. Tell us what kind of season lies ahead for the Atlanta Hawks.
I think if you talk to Hawks fans, there's a lot of optimism, Tom, right? This team has kind of hovered around the middle the last few years, which is tough for an NBA fan because if you're at the top, that's obviously awesome. If you're at the bottom, maybe you get a really great draft pick, which the Hawks have had, and you can kind of work your way up or you can see a path forward. The Hawks have been stuck in the middle. They brought in some interesting players in the offseason. They get back some guys like a Jalen Johnson, who you're seeing right here on Fox Local from practice yesterday. They have a lot of pieces in place, and of course, Trae Young, their superstar, and they're in the NBA's Eastern Conference. A lot of injuries in the NBA's Eastern Conference. A lot of typical superpowers that we don't expect quite as much from this year. So the Hawks are a trendy pick, Tom, to really make some noise this year and go a lot further than they have in recent years.
All right, tell us about tonight's game at State Farm, tip-off and who they're playing.
Yep.
It's a way to sort of build early momentum for this team.
Absolutely. Look, it's one of 82, but you want to start on the right foot. It's 7:30 tonight. They're going to take on the Toronto Raptors. We'll be down there. We'll have live reports coming up on Fox 5 News at 6. So it's an interesting game to start with. And we mentioned Jalen Johnson a moment ago. Super exciting player. And last year, he was just on the up and up and up. This guy could be the next star for the Atlanta Hawks. And then season-ending injury. And it came against the Toronto Raptors. Kind of interesting. So for him, it's extra meaningful. One, he finally just wants to get back on the court after so long of rehabbing. And two, it's against the team. A little bit of irony there that he was hurt against last year. So that'll be something that's interesting. And we want to give the home fans something to cheer about, right? I mean, State Farm Arena, when they're winning, that place can be rocking. So you want to start off on the right foot.
Now, we're in an environment sports-wise in town here where we have the Atlanta Falcons who are kind of on the fence in their season. We have Tech, who's undefeated and doing so well. Georgia, UGA, is doing fantastic. And so, enter the Hawks. And let's hope that they can sort of build on that momentum
and grab some of that attention. Look, we're a busy city. It's the busiest city in the world. So it is something that when this team is winning and the excitement builds and it's hard to get in the arena and the fans are packed and they got the music performances and timeouts, it's awesome. And it's hard to capture that when you're in the middle of the pack. So if they can get out front early, watch out. Those tickets are going to get expensive.
All right, DJ is out in Athens for an event with UGA coach Mark Richt, former coach, a charity bowling event. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, make sure to join us tonight. It's going to be really fun. Fox 5 News at 6 and here on Fox Local at about 6:50 p.m. Hopefully you're watching all the time, but 6:50 p.m. So Mark Richt, former UGA coach, of course, DJ Shockley's coach when he played for the Bulldogs, has had a well-documented battle with Parkinson's disease, and Coach Richt doing such great things in the community. So tonight out in Athens, he's having a charity bowling event. You're going to see current Georgia players. You're going to see some Dogs legends. You're going to see a lot of guys that DJ played with, former coaches. So many people care about Coach Richt and what he's doing, and it's pretty cool that DJ is going to be talking to his former coach about those charity efforts. Maybe we'll find out what he thinks about this year's team, get some thoughts on Kirby Smart, but it's always a really fun event, a great cause, and DJ, I know, is thrilled to be out there supporting his old coach.
And speaking of the Dogs, we keep talking about Tech and the Dogs and this big sort of apex of a game that's going to happen Thanksgiving weekend-ish, right?
Black Friday, yeah.
That's sort of the culmination of these two teams' seasons.
If they both keep going as they're going right now, and it's very possible Georgia Tech is going to be favored in every game from here on out. UGA still has some really tough games left on the schedule. Both do. Every game's tough. But man, if they went into Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Georgia Tech undefeated, Georgia with a path towards the playoffs, that would be, it's something that I haven't seen since I've been working in Atlanta. I've been here 10 years. We haven't seen both these teams as top 10 teams in a long time. I don't know what that would be like.
What a crescendo, right?
Yeah.
For these two teams.
You save a little bit of turkey, watch that one at home. That'll be a lot of fun. And then, hey, both could certainly be in the playoffs. We could be talking about both into 2026.
All right, Justin, fun to be a fan right now. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you streaming with us here for the 3 p.m. hour on Fox Local. Covered a lot of ground today. The news doesn't stop, though. It continues right here, right now.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right now.
Opening statements begin for the man accused of murdering Tiffany Foster. We take you inside the courtroom to tell you what attorneys for both sides told the jury. And help is on the way. Federal workers continue to show up for work without pay as the government shutdown continues. Coming up, a local food pantry helping TSA workers put food on the table. But first, 48 hours after being arrested, the man accused of threatening to shoot up the world's busiest airport is officially in federal custody. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Christine Spiro. The feds picked up 49-year-old Billy Cagle this morning from the Clayton County Jail, and any minute now, he's due to appear in federal court in downtown Atlanta. That comes as we learn new details about the minutes leading up to his capture. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert is tracking the newest developments today from the federal courthouse in downtown Atlanta.
As we await Billy Cagle's first court appearance in federal court, we are learning some new details. Since Monday, we've known that family members were the people who initially reported to police his plan to shoot up the world's busiest airport. Well, we now know, based on some new court documents, that his wife was one of the people who reported him.
The 6-page federal criminal complaint released Wednesday lays out the case against 49-year-old convicted felon Billy Cagle, who was arrested Monday at the world's busiest airport after making violent threats during a FaceTime call that he was going to, quote, shoot up the airport. The complaint says that Cagle's wife and another person were the ones who actually drove to the Cartersville Police Department and reported him for being, quote, unstable, which set off a chain reaction of events that landed him in cuffs a short time later.
Is a guy named Billy?
The document says Cagle told the other person, who was not identified, that he was driving on Interstate 75 with a gun and planned to, quote, shoot some cars. It went on to say, as Cagle's wife and the witness drove to speak to an officer, Cagle was on FaceTime allegedly showing airport signage and saying, quote, I'm at the airport. I'm going to go rat-a-tat-tat, a phrase investigators believe was meant to imitate gunfire. Cartersville police reached out to Atlanta Airport Police, and within a matter of minutes, Cagle was found and arrested. When investigators searched his truck, which they say he illegally parked in the drop-off area, they found an AR-15 rifle with 27 rounds of ammunition. Cagle faces 3 federal charges. Those are attempted violence at an international airport, interstate communications containing threats, and being a felon in possession of a firearm.
Cagle's attorney, Preston Halliburton, released this statement to me, quote, we are currently in a fact-gathering mode. At the outset, we believe there's some miscommunication to the public, and at the appropriate time, we look forward to clearing up any of these possible miscommunications. Our legal team looks forward to working with Renee Rockwell, a seasoned lawyer here in Atlanta, end quote. The initial appearance was set to get underway at 4 o'clock. I'm going to head inside, and all the very latest coming up on Fox 5 News at 5 and 6. In downtown Atlanta, Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
All right, Tyler, thanks so much. We're getting a look at the dump truck driver accused of hitting and killing a woman in Brookhaven yesterday afternoon. 54-year-old Omar Ali of Mableton has been charged with felony hit and run and vehicular homicide. Brookhaven police say the 20-year-old victim and her boyfriend were in the crosswalk on Claremont Road and Dresden Drive yesterday afternoon. That's when a cement dump truck slammed into the woman and, according to police, kept going. Police were able to quickly locate Ali and take him into custody. The victim has not been identified. Police in DeKalb County are investigating a deadly pedestrian crash in Lawrenceville. The victim is a 40-year-old man. He was hit by a car near Lawrenceville Highway and Hollywood Lane around 7:30 this morning. Police call that crash a hit and run. Opening arguments took place this morning in the Tiffany Foster disappearance and murder case in Coweta County. Fox 5's Doug Evans was in the courtroom and tells us what attorneys on both sides told the jury.
In opening arguments, the prosecutor told the jurors that we will never know what happened to Tiffany Foster because her body has never been found to tell the story. But the prosecutor laid out a case for the jurors of previous violent crimes by former fiancé Reginald Robertson against Tiffany Foster. She said in November of 2020, just a few months before Tiffany's disappearance in March of 2021, Robertson did some strange things and allegedly told numerous numerous lies to law enforcement. Jurors heard a 911 call from November 2020 in which Tiffany is recorded saying over and over again, "Reggie, you're scaring me. Reggie, you have a gun." And in that recording, she is heard crying and sounds terrified. They also showed the juror crime scene photos of an abandoned home where he allegedly tied her up that night with zip ties and then fired a gun. Body cam video from Noonan police later that same night. Tiffany told police she couldn't tell them what happened to her because he would kill her. They also showed jurors a text from Tiffany to a friend just a few days before the disappearance in which she says, "If anything happens to me," in all caps, "Reggie did it." Then prosecutors said on the last day anyone had seen her, on March 1st of 2021, Robertson used Tiffany's car to use her ATM card to withdraw some money from her account, and then went to a hardware store. They showed some receipts where he allegedly bought a shovel and some bolt cutters. The prosecutor said Robertson was joined by neighbor Jeremy Walker, who is also charged in this case. He's facing a charge of concealing Tiffany's death. The defense told jurors after all the tests law enforcement had done in this case, there's no evidence that ties Reginald Robertson to a crime. And so on this first day of testimony, it is centered around that November 2021 episode in which he's charged with kidnapping and aggravated assault. Jurors hearing the two recordings of Tiffany Foster, one, the 911 call in which she's overheard saying, "Reggie, you're scaring me. Reggie, you have a gun." And then the police body cam video from later that night in which she tells officers that she can't tell them what happened to her because he would kill her. I'm Doug Evans, Fox 5 News in Coweta County.
New at 4, Chamblee police are investigating a stabbing at a Motel 6 on Chamblee Tucker Road. Medics rushed the victim to the hospital. The victim is expected to survive. Police are searching for the suspect. Right now, it's not clear what led to the stabbing, but police believe this was an isolated incident. New at 4, the GBI has taken over the investigation after a use of force incident resulted in a man's death in Cobb County. Police responded to a hit-and-run incident Tuesday evening. When they arrived, they found Timothy Lyle Sheets of Dallas walking down the sidewalk. Sheets stated he had been shot, but officers did not see any visible injuries. When officers asked him to get in a patrol unit for safety, Sheets refused and began walking into traffic. At that point, an officer tased Sheets in an effort to prevent him from running into oncoming traffic. Medics rushed him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Gwinnett County Police have taken 2 people into custody for a shooting outside Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar. Sky Fox flew over the bar on Pleasant Hill Road near Duluth. Police say the gunman got into a dispute with employees inside the bar. That's when he left and began firing shots from his vehicle. Officers used flock cameras and other investigative tools to locate the vehicle and issue a search warrant at his home. They took the man and a woman into custody without incident. No word on charges. The USDA announced it will not have the funding to distribute SNAP or EBT benefits in November because of the ongoing government shutdown. This could have major impacts on the millions of Americans who depend on it. SNAP and EBT benefits are accepted at most grocery stores and convenience stores. But if that money does not get delivered in November, families will have to turn to other resources like a food pantry. The Senate is expected to take up a 12th vote to pass a House bill that would reopen the government. Congressional Republicans and the White House refuse to negotiate until the government reopens. President Trump wants the Justice Department to pay him hundreds of millions in compensation for its past investigations into him. According to the New York Times, 2 complaints were filed before he won a second term in office, but critics say this is unethical. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the details.
President Trump may have just found a way to help pay for his new White House ballroom, a big payout from the Department of Justice.
We have numerous cases having to do with the fraud of the election, the 2020 election, and because of everything that we found out, I guess they owe me a lot of money.
According to the New York Times, before his second term, Trump filed administrative claims in 2023 and 2024, seeking damages for the Russia election interference investigation and the FBI raid at his Mar-a-Lago residence over classified documents. The final total rings up to about $230 million. But the president says he won't pocket the money.
If I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House.
Either way, Trump's critics are calling it an abuse of power, considering the DOJ attorneys who approved such claims are close Trump allies and were involved in the classified documents case.
You can't simply transfer $230 million of taxpayer funds because Donald Trump has directed his sycophants within his administration to do just that.
The Justice Department is not commenting on the status of Trump's claims, but says in any circumstance it would follow the guidance of career ethics officials. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
All right, let's get a check of the weather forecast as we look live here over Sandy Springs at the King and Queen building and the beautiful blue skies behind it. Turned out to be a really nice afternoon today. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy joining us here with more details on what to expect. I don't see any rain out there, but I know it's needed.
Oh, it is needed, but there is some to come, but you're going to have to wait it out, especially for the remainder of the week, that is. After all, today is a no complaints kind of October day with temperatures where they should be for this time of the year, at least to end. Not to start, though. We dropped down into the 40s last night. We still should be posting temperatures in terms of overnight lows in the low 50s. However, that's not been the case over the past couple of days, and it won't be, especially as we head to bed tonight. High pressure's moved in, bumping out that area of low pressure and the attendant cold front that brought us some clouds and showers yesterday, and we have had cooler and drier air move in. But we're warming up considerably, especially across the deep south. It looks like 77 is a popular number from Little Rock to Jackson, Mississippi. Coming into Macon here in Atlanta, we're around 74 degrees. So posting a temperature that is above average for this time of the year. With 74 here in town, step outside of the city and you'll find some communities still trying to make it there, likely not making it, especially up there in the mountains. But you have an opportunity to see Carrollton with your temperature coming in at around 69 degrees. 75 there in Eaton, 72 for Thomaston and Griffin at this 4 o'clock hour. Another look at the blue skies as we take you out to Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, where the winds are quite stiff out of the northwest at about 14 miles an hour. The winds will subside as we go to bed tonight, and you can see it here. Drier air will be firmly afoot. Look at that dew point down in the 20s. The temperature is going to drop like a rock as the sun goes down. Will be seasonable, but once again, starting out tomorrow morning, it will be slightly below average. We'll start you out at 49 degrees. The average high for this time of the year in the lower 70s, the average low in the lower 50s. Nonetheless, a chilly start to the morning, but we'll warm up by afternoon back into the 70s. Meanwhile, down in the Caribbean Sea, the waters there are running around 85, 86 degrees, which is a perfect condition for this storm to continue to brew and bask. The only issue is it's not moving fast anytime soon. I'm tracking its latest trajectory next to my Fox 5 Storm Team forecast.
Jonathan, thanks so much. Still ahead on Fox 5 News at 4, TSA workers get some help putting food on the table. The pantry giveaway helping those impacted by the government shutdown. And Georgia's U.S. Senate race starting to take shape. After the break, we'll hear from the former football coach who jumped into the political arena in a bid to go to Washington. Georgia's U.S. Senate race has started to take shape with several Republicans vying to unseat incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at the state capitol. And Deidre, you were able to speak one-on-one with Republican Senate candidate Derek Dooley today.
That's right. And Derek Dooley has been endorsed by Governor Kemp in this Senate race. He's never held public office and is running as a political outsider.
I love this country. I have a lot of pride in being from Georgia, and I just believe leadership matters. And I think we need new leadership in the U.S. Senate that reflects a lot of what the Georgia people want.
Former college football coach Derek Dooley is trading the sidelines for the political arena.
I want to go up there to D.C. to represent Georgia the right way. I'm Derek Dooley.
He's running as a political outsider and believes his decades of coaching experience, working with youth and families from diverse backgrounds, gives him a unique perspective.
I'm just not your typical politician. I didn't grow up in this world, but I do care about serving the people, and I'm going to go up there and put the people first.
The son of legendary UGA football coach Vince Dooley picked up an early endorsement from Governor Brian Kemp after joining the race for U.S. Senate in August, joining the crowded field of GOP candidates who hope to unseat incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff.
How do you respond to critics who will say your lack of political experience would make it difficult for you to represent Georgians to be effective in Washington?
Well, I would say it's the exact opposite. I'm glad I don't have some of that experience because I think that's why we got here in the first place. I mean, we have so many issues that frustrate our people with what's going on in D.C. And look, we're living in it right now. This shutdown we have right now is D.C. politics at their finest. And so I just don't accept this notion that you have to have political experience to be up there and serve the people, to have some common sense and be focused on solutions. I mean, we have a president right now that had no political experience, and he's getting more things done in our lifetime than any other president has.
Now, Dooley says he has been campaigning heavily across the state since entering the race, also running in the GOP primary for the Senate seat, Congressman Mike Collins and Congressman Buddy Carter. At the state capitol, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
All right, Deidre, thanks so much. Let's get you caught up on your weather forecast. Looks beautiful there on the grounds of the state capitol where Deidre was. It's really a nice afternoon today.
And I added layers, not so much in the way of a jacket, but, you know.
I see the three-piece suit. I see you rocking it today.
And I was just out on a story, and I got hot standing outside. I was like, whoa, okay.
Got to peel a layer off.
Definitely in fall, where it was a nice blanket in the mornings, but you're ready to rip it off by midday. And that's exactly what is happening today. Temperatures have recovered greatly. Look at where we started. 53 degrees, the morning low here in Atlanta. Go outside the city, and numbers were in the 30s in the mountains. 37 degrees in Blairsville, 42 Carrollton, 46 LaGrange. For those of you who started out in the 40s, you're going back there. And if you manage to hold on to 50s, yep, you're going to loosen your grip on those tonight as temperatures area-wide are going into the 40s with some 30s once more popping up in the mountains. Right now, we're in the mid-70s here in town, outside the city. Depending on where you go, especially as you pull out east, you'll find some mid-70s and then some 60s as you look up to the north into the foothills and the mountains. Temperatures are gradually falling, but then taking a pretty steep dip as the sun slips below the horizon. Waking up on a Thursday morning, here's what you will find here across the city. Temperatures are going to be in the 40s area-wide, and that is inside and outside the perimeter. Dunwoody, 45 degrees, the same for Marietta and South Fulton. McDonough, you'll pull a 45 as well, along with Beaufort. Going up to the northwestern quadrant of the state, you'll find Dallas starting out around 43 degrees, 42 in Rome. Looking up to the north and to the east, this is where we're going to have our coolest temperatures. These are temperatures around maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, so I think you'll take a dip into the high 30s, but then you'll come bouncing back slowly but surely as you get deeper into the morning and the sun's rays start to hit the surface. In terms of to the south and to the east, things are going to be around the 45-degree mark to get things started. But once again, we'll wake up with plenty of sunshine, and you're going to need that sunshine, especially if you're starting out with the temperature around 44 degrees in Peachtree City around 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. By 9 o'clock, we're into the 50s, and then it's just a short stay there. We'll climb into the 60s and eventually the 70s to post highs highs that are above average for this time of the year for what will be the second day in the row. So 77 degrees, that's your high temperature for tomorrow. The average for this time of the year is 72, 73. So you can see here we're going to outdo ourselves by at least 3 to 4 degrees. And that is a pattern that will persist right on through at least the first part of the weekend. As we take a look at your hour-by-hour forecast here, we're looking at the big picture. An area of high pressure comes to replace the one that's going to slide out, and it will act as a bit of a pump. You can see here we'll start to lift up those temperatures really for Thursday, once again taking us to the 70s with that area of high pressure hanging right off the Georgia, South Carolina coast. Those northerly winds still trying to dive in as another area of high pressure prances across the Ohio River Valley. But all of our attention will be set on this storm system out to the west as we begin the weekend. It's not an issue for Saturday. Sunday, the jury is still out on that, but I'm thinking Sunday is looking brighter to start, cloudier to end, and possibly getting in some showers at some point during the second half of the day. I'm holding off at this point, thinking that we can bring those showers in sometime around sunset. So as we take a look at your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast, today, tomorrow, Friday, problem-free. The same for Saturday. You will notice a few more clouds there. Temperatures chilly in the morning, but then fairly warm by seasonal averages by afternoon. For Sunday, you can see that those clouds will take over, and that will do a doozy on our temperatures. We'll likely spend the majority of the day in the 60s. Rain starting off during the PM hours, and then look, we open up the windows and there are repeated rain chances in the days to come. It all starts Sunday night, but it looks like the focus will be on Monday and Wednesday for the most widespread shower activity. This is welcome news to the parched ground and for all of those of you who are tired of running your sprinklers. Christine?
All right, Jonathan, thanks so much. Time now for a look at Skyfox traffic in the evening rush hour. We have an overturned semi to tell you about here on the west side perimeter. It's happening north at I-20. This is a live look at a DOT camera where there are several heavy-duty wreckers on scene right now. 2 right lanes are blocked and traffic is jammed back before Langford Parkway. So for now, avoid this area. Consider taking the downtown connector or surface roads as an alternate. Fire crews are on the scene of a brush fire near Buford Highway northbound at Piedmont Road. One far right lane is blocked, and that's adding to delays from Midtown. I-85 is a good alternate around this. Georgia residents have their Public Service Commission hearings. The concerns, some of them raised over a newly proposed energy grid. And a Georgia Tech student takes home first place and $50,000, the competition that left the grad student with extra cash in his pockets.
You can listen to Fox 5 live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.
Georgia Tech student takes home first place and thousands of dollars in a competition. Radu Kapasu, who is a grad student in city and regional planning at Georgia Tech, won $50,000 and first place at this year's GeoGuessr World Championship. The game challenges players to identify specific locations using Google Street View in a race against the clock. After completing his master's degree, Kasapu plans to pursue a career as a planner at the city or regional level. Public Service Commission hearings continue today to discuss a proposal to add nearly 10 gigawatts of energy to the grid. 80% of the energy would go to data centers. But Georgia Power has to first ask state regulators for permission. It will seek the approval from state regulators this week. Public advocates worry customers could pay more. Others say the expansion is necessary.
Citizens are living paycheck to paycheck and shouldn't have to evaluate whether they can afford electricity and groceries.
My preference is that expansion ability be given to those in the industry focused on safety and efficiency.
A Georgia Power spokesperson tells us it's too far out to tell if the company would ask for a price increase after the rate freeze ends in a few years. Another hearing will take place tomorrow. The feds, Chicago, and state of Illinois are back at it in court today. This as state and local leaders fight to keep the National Guard off the streets of Chicago.
And as the federal shutdown continues, one Metro Atlanta organization is helping TSA workers without a paycheck. I'm Eric Perry. I'll have the story just ahead.
We continue to track Tropical Storm Melissa in the Caribbean Sea. It's maintaining its strength, however, is slowed its speeds. And today, the spaghetti plots through meteorologists a conundrum. What we're tracking next in my Fox 5 Computer forecast.
A local organization opened up their food pantry to TSA workers impacted by the government shutdown. The giveaway took place at Nicole's House of Hope, and many workers took advantage. Fox 5's Eric Perry is live outside the organization's headquarters in South Fulton with more. Eric?
Yeah, Christine, good to see you. And it's good to see people over my shoulder like this. They're coming out, getting different supplies. They're coming out with cart full of items. They are all helping their families. And it was really simple. All you needed to do was show an ID badge just to show that you work for the TSA, and you were welcomed inside.
It's the sound of happiness in South Fulton as TSA workers impacted by the government shutdown had full access to a food pantry Wednesday.
It may not affect me, but it bothers me deeply.
Melody Williams with Nicole's House of Hope wanted to focus on those working who have gone weeks without pay for meats, snacks, veggies, and even cleaning supplies. Williams wanted those workers to know you're not alone.
Whew, I'm kind of touchy about this subject because I'm not one of the ones that are going through it, but there's so many around me that are, and it just prompted me to step in.
It took place at their headquarters in South Fulton. All they needed to do was show proper ID.
Because they are not getting paid, that doesn't mean that their bills are not still coming, that they are in a crisis situation.
Archie Calloway says Wednesday's work is of the most importance. He hopes it helps lift morale.
If you working and ain't got paid in a month, you don't feel too good. They didn't realize when they was coming that we were going to show them this kind of respect and this kind of love. And they probably had no idea that they would be able to walk out of here with 3 and 4 bags of stuff.
I most definitely hope that they still maintain their peace and their sanity and know that everything will be all right, because when they have storms, you most definitely see sunshine afterwards.
Oh, that's the word right there. We wanted to talk with TSA workers, but because of their position, they couldn't talk with us on camera. They do tell me they are grateful here. We'll have more information on this organization on our website. This giveaway is going on until 5 o'clock. You still have a little bit of time to come out if you need it. In South Fulton, I'm Eric Perry, Fox 5 News.
Hopefully people take advantage. Eric, thanks so much. Time now to get caught up here again on your weather forecast. Back with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy on a day that looks picture perfect out there.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
No complaints for this weather except for the continual need for rain. And it is coming. Unfortunately, it will come as we get closer to Halloween.
Oh, no. We can't wear costumes.
Well, let's just call it pre-Halloween rain at this point.
Okay.
There's a pretty solid chance for rain as we get into next week. But for the here and now, it's all about the blue skies as we take you out to Port Royal Marina there in Forsyth County, looking out over Lake Lanier. Looking good on this Wednesday afternoon with the current temperature of 74 degrees. The winds are very noticeable as they come in out of the northwest at 14 miles an hour. It's still not out of the question that you could get a gust near 20-25 miles an hour, but the wind should knock it off as we go deeper into the late afternoon and early evening period. And that's when temperatures will fall into the 60s and eventually the 50s and 40s to kick off your Thursday morning. After all, we are now less than 45 days away to the end of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. But for the month of October, we don't so much watch what's developing in the Atlantic, but we look along what is known as the Gulf Stream, the Gulf Coast, and the Caribbean Sea for development. And that's where we had the development of Tropical Storm Melissa yesterday. But today, when we woke up, we were introduced to some modeling that was quite mind-boggling, if you will. The models can't really decide where the storm is going. These are spaghetti splots, and meteorologist Alex Forbes has been tracking the storm throughout the day to figure out exactly what could happen next. And no matter what, this is going to be a storm that we must watch.
Yeah, Jonathan, you mentioned it. It's in that area that we pay close attention to in that Caribbean area. And as we look at this here over the next few days, the plan is for it to be stronger. So as of the latest advisory, which is as of 2 o'clock, we should get the 5 o'clock one here shortly. Winds of 50 miles an hour, some gusts upwards of 65. But here's the key with the storm is the speed. It's moving west at 2 miles an hour. It's barely moving, and that's going to drive really what's going to be going on over the next couple of days. So here is that forecast track now. You see very little distance between those icons, which shows you just how slow it's moving, as that's day to day. But notice that the National Hurricane Center has kind of latched onto that southern track. Now, you're not really seeing a cone here because that day 5 area is so close to the day 1 that lets the circle be as big as it is. So I would say a lot of uncertainty with this the way we see it right now. But the one thing I am watching for is this. Take a look at these rainfall totals from Jamaica through southern Hispaniola. That's over a foot of rain in many spots, and that's important to know note with Hispaniola because look at the elevation here, right? You're looking for the potential of landslides, particularly on the Dominican Republic side, but that does extend over into Haiti as well. So I think when we're talking about Melissa in a couple weeks, we're going to be talking about all of the rainfall that came from it. Now, key takeaways here. What are you watching for? I would look for flooding in Hispaniola, Jamaica, and Cuba. The United States impact's not likely at all, but it's not something we're ruling out 110% just yet. The X factor is, as Jonathan was alluding to with those spaghetti models, is where does the turn to the north happen? Does it happen on the east side of Jamaica, the west side of Jamaica? Does it make it a little further into the Caribbean, Christine? It's something we're all going to be watching in the Fox 5 Storm Center for the next couple of days.
Hurricane season not over yet.
Nope.
All right, Alex, thanks so much. Time now for a look at Skyfox traffic in the evening rush hour. Staying on top of that overturned semi we told you about in Fulton County. 3 right lanes are still blocked here on 285 northbound at I-20, right at exit 10. This is a live look through a DOT camera, and you can see the tractor trailer on its side in the ditch there. Several heavy-duty records are there, and it's causing major delays stretching back to Camp Creek Parkway. Avoid this. Use the downtown connector or Highway 29. We're also watching fire crews on the scene of a brush fire in Buckhead. 1 right lane is blocked on Buford Highway northbound past Piedmont Road. It's adding to delays from the Brookwood split. 85 is a possible alternate around this. After the break, the state and federal authorities in court over President Trump's push to send the National Guard into the city of Chicago. Find out where the case is headed next. That's when we come back. A major immigration raid gets caught on camera in Manhattan. It happened on the famous Canal Street in Chinatown Tuesday. Video shows ICE officers scuffling with protesters as they're trying to take several street vendors into custody. Canal Street is well known for its knockoff handbags, jewelry, and electronics. Federal agents arrested more than 40 people. That included at least 2 protesters who they say tried to block them from driving off. The feds, Chicago, and state of Illinois are back at it in court today, fighting over President Trump's plan to send the military, the National Guard, into the streets of Chicago. Fox's Caroline Elliott joins us live now to explain where the case is heading next. Caroline?
Yeah, well, it looks like both sides want the Supreme Court to step in, and we're told that Trump's team is asking the High Court to decide that quickly. The question on the table is whether or not President Trump should be able to send National Guard troops into Chicago. We know right now the troops are on standby about 50 miles outside of Chicago, all because of a temporary restraining order put in place by U.S. District Judge April Perry, who we should note was appointed by Biden last year. President Trump's team wants the Supreme Court to intervene and allow the troops in to help protect those federal immigration personnel and property in Chicago. In recent weeks, we've seen those protests play out, including some that have turned violent outside the Broadview ICE facility in suburban Chicago.
It's a crime palace. It's a shame. And you know what we did in D.C. is unbelievable.
Illinois is also asking the Supreme Court to step in and block that deployment into Chicago. Illinois Governor Pritzker said there's no need for federal troops in his state, and he says he won't call up the National Guard to, quote, further Trump's acts of aggression against our people. In federal court today, both sides agreed to extend the order blocking a National Guard deployment for another 30 days while the case continues to develop in court. It's still unclear exactly when the Supreme Court could make that decision, but we do know during his second term, the High Court's conservative majority has handed Trump several major victories. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Caroline, thank you so much. The sportsbook BetUS lists the sexiest mascots in college football. Who knew? Find out which Georgia school made the list. It's Downtown Day in the city of Atlanta, and nonprofit Central Atlanta Progress and the city are hosting the all-day, all-night celebration. Organizers say the day showcases the innovation and investment shaping the future of downtown Atlanta. The celebration also includes events and activities, including walking tours and pop-up activations. The long lines have returned outside the Louvre Museum. That's where police are still trying to piece together how thieves stole more than $100 million worth of jewels over the weekend. The Louvre director says new protocols are now being developed and claims there was no breakdown in security Sunday. A massive manhunt is underway with more than 100 investigators working the case, while tourists continue to line up outside the museum, many still feeling disbelief 3 days after the robbery.
The alarms worked, the guards responded to the room, and thieves used serious construction grade equipment to break in. So, there's no such thing as 100% security.
Astonishing that they were able to do something like that in such a short amount of time with no one really noticing what was going on. Right. So it really was like an ultimate heist in the middle of the day.
The Louvre director says she offered her resignation after the heist, but it was rejected. A cow is spotted living a life of luxury. A football player is accused of faking an injury, and UGA's mascot has been named one of the sexiest mascots in college football. Let's get you caught up on the stories making headlines across America. We start on the Jersey Shore, where hurricanes and nor'easters have eroded the beaches there. The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection says last week's nor'easter and Hurricane Erin in August led to the erosion, leaving the formerly sandy dunes to now look like steep cliff-like slopes. Ocean City has shored up the most damaged beaches by trucking in sand, and there are plans for a further beach replenishment project with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Love it. How down, bro, cow?
Check it out. This mini Highland cow appears to be really enjoying his cruise around St. Petersburg, Florida. His name is Jason Momoa. Get it? Jason Momoa. And his owner says he was completely at ease while the boat was in motion. They say he's brought lots of smiles to faces during his adventure. And take a look at the moment Texas A&M cornerback went down during their first game against Arkansas last Saturday. A&M has been fined after the player, Tyreek Chappell, was accused of faking an injury. Officials say prior to Chappell going down, a Texas A&M staff member appeared to be signaling him while pointing to the ground in an effort to gain an unmerited advantage to stop the game. A&M has been fined $50,000, and Coach Mike Elko was publicly reprimanded. Take a look at this. The University of Georgia mascot, Harry Dog, has been named one of the sexiest mascots in college football. The list was compiled by the sportsbook BetUS, and they put Harry Dog at number 9 on their list. They analyzed more than 100 Division I mascots and ranked them based on personality, color ratio, search volume, and social following. I think they should have been number 1. I don't know. All right, coming up, first, South Carolina. All right, we'll go to break after this.
If you have an Amazon Alexa-enabled device in your home, ask her to enable the Fox 5 Atlanta skill so you can get local updates anytime straight from Fox 5.
We are halfway through the work week. If you're looking for how to spend your weekend, Fox 5's Lauren Robinson has an idea. She joins us live from your third spot this week, Lauren.
Hey, Christine, that's right. I'm at your third spot, which is in the works in West Midtown Atlanta, and it is tons of fun. A little quiet now because we haven't opened just yet, but as we go through the rest of the weekend or through the rest of the season, this will be a fun place to be. So I'm here with my friend Diana, who's the Events and Experiences Manager here at your third spot, and we have some good things coming up as we move into the fall season, right?
Yeah, so last week of October, we have our Halloween Week with our Boo and You Date Night specials. That is going to include unlimited games for couples, our Taste and Explore signature 7-course menu, as well as some goodie bags, a custom Polaroid photo as well. Halloween night, we have a big celebration with a costume contest, a Treehouse of Terror photo booth, as well as a DJ and some dancing. And then that leads us to November 1st, our birthday. We have our 3-year anniversary celebration. We're going to have some circus-style acts with an aerialist, a stilt walker, champagne for all of our guests as well. So lots of things to look forward to. You can find out more about it on yourthirdspot.com or just by following us on Instagram.
Yeah, and there's so much to do here, even outside of those more Halloween and birthday themed activities. There's arcade games. How many arcade games are here?
We have 65 games just in the arcade, but over 100 different games throughout our entire venue. Everybody gets this Experiences Pass, which unlocks unlimited gaming, so you don't have to worry about credits or coins. It's just available at the tip of your finger.
All right, and outside of that, there's a really fun slide. There's outdoor activities. Of course, bowling, which we have behind us. So let's go ahead. You know, I can't be this close to a bowling alley and not try and get a ball down here. You guys, don't judge me. I'm just gonna say it's not gonna be good, only because I have a microphone in my hand. That's gonna be my excuse, but let's see what I can do. Oh gosh, the pressure's on. Oh, wait. Nope. Guys, we're going to pretend this one happened. Maybe my friend Diana here could do a little better than me.
I work here.
All right. Oh, man. And see, this is going to be a fun experience this weekend or anytime, and you can really come rain or shine. But as we go through the weekend, we're going to see a lot of shine. We're going to see those temperatures stay pretty warm in the upper to middle 70s as we start the weekend. Sunday, though, that's when we're looking for a little bit of change. We're going to see those temperatures drop, and we're going to look for some late day showers to come in. But again, rain or shine, this is a fun place to be. And for now, reporting from your third spot in West Midtown Atlanta, I'm meteorologist Lauren Robinson. You certainly want to come and give this place a try if you haven't already.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And Tom said, Lauren, you need to work on your bowling skills. So I'm just the messenger.
That's what I'm going to do here.
All right, thanks so much. Well, Kroger stores expect a busy holiday shopping season. The company plans to hire more than 18,000 workers, but this year there's about 7,000 fewer openings compared to last year. This comes as the job market goes through a rough patch due to tariffs, deportations, and mass firings. Time now to take a look at what's ahead on Fox 5 News at 5. Fox 5 anchor Tom Haynes joins us here live in the studio with a quick preview. You can show her some
working
form
on my
later
bowling
tonight.
form, Christine. Coming up, I'd be in the gutter, by the way. Coming up all new and next at 5, taxpayers fight back and win. Hear how they're getting more accountability for their tax dollars. The man accused of threatening to shoot up the world's busiest airport is now in federal custody. We have the latest developments as Billy Cagle faces a federal judge. We'll have all of that and so much more when you join us all new and next for Fox 5 News at 5. It starts right after the break.
Fox 5 News at 5 starts right now.
The government shutdown continuing with no end in sight, and community leaders in Atlanta are stepping up. Now at 5, the efforts to help essential workers.
And we speak one-on-one with U.S. Senate candidate Derek Dooley, why he says he's the right candidate in this heated race. First tonight, the man accused of threatening to shoot up the world's busiest airport is officially in federal custody. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us here for Fox 5 News at 5. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Courtney Bryant. The feds picked up 49-year-old Billy Cagle this morning from the Clayton County Jail. Is at the federal courthouse in downtown Atlanta, where Cagle made his first appearance on federal charges. Tyler?
Yeah, Courtney, good evening to you. Just less than 30 minutes ago, Billy Cagle made his initial appearance here in federal court. He walked into the courtroom with handcuffs, wearing the same blue polo he was wearing when he was arrested on Monday. The judge spent the short hearing talking about his rights, and this all comes as we got some brand new court documents which are revealing some new details about what happened on Monday.
The 6-page federal criminal complaint released Wednesday lays out the case against 49-year-old convicted felon Billy Cagle, who was arrested Monday at the world's busiest airport